If you really want to become a pilot, this question is very important to ask yourselves. The question is, do you really have to score very good marks in DGCA exams? Is it really necessary to score more than 90 marks in DGCA exams, or just 70 marks is enough? And there is a announcement at the end of this video. Please watch this video completely. If you look at this message, it says, "Sir, I took Met and Rex exam and I got 82 and 80 in them. I didn't message because in the group there were many people who scored in the 90s range." So this was the message sent by my student after this exam recently when I asked about the results. Who is responsible for this kind of mindset? I take 100% responsibility for inculcating this kind of mindset in my students. Now, is it right to make a student understand, oh, 80 marks is not a very good mark, even after scoring or passing both Met and Rex in one shot with 80% or 80 plus marks in both of them, that too under 1 month, and they are made to feel these are not good marks, we have to score 90 plus. Yes, I do it. And what is the reason I do it? Let's examine. Recently, I had a conversation with one of the management pilots in an airline who is concerned with recruiting new pilots. For every 100 vacancies, they have approximately 2000 to 3000 applications come in for the job. Now, let's understand how an airline selects its candidates. First and foremost thing, they conduct an exam. After this exam, if you are able to secure, let's say 2000 people gave the exam, if you are able to secure a rank below 150 in that exam, then you will be eligible for next round. If not, you will be sent home. That means out of 2000, 1850 applications go home, 150 applications stay back, and of that 150 they will filter out 50 students in the rest of the rounds, like interview, group discussion, compass, etc. etc. Now, here pilot is all about flying the aircraft, right? Why did they conduct an exam? Piloting a 737 or A320 is not about your flying skills only. Of course, flying skills are seen, but in the later rounds. It is about your knowledge. Why? You are almost always not flying the aircraft. The aircraft flies itself from one point to other. It auto cruises. It will descend automatically once you set the altitude. It maintains its own speed. It is not like a bicycle or a car where you are constantly driving it. It flies on autopilot. But what is the role of a pilot? Major role of a pilot is, when something goes wrong on that day, will you be able to handle it? To handle the aircraft which is defective, you really need the knowledge. For example, if something is not working, you need to do an NDP approach in a foreign country like a South Africa or somewhere, where you don't do NDP approaches in India or in US most of the times. If you have to do, will you be able to do it on that day? Will you be able to save the aircraft? Will you be able to make sure the aircraft is not damaged? Is what they look into. For that, it is not the piloting skills which are most needed, it is the knowledge which is most needed. That is the reason why the sim test will not come first, but the written exam come first, and they will look into your knowledge. You have understood that written exam is the most important thing in getting a job, and 50% of the CPL holders will never get a job. This is the fact, and nobody will tell you this. They move into their family business, or they find a new profession, they move on, or they wait for 10-15 years to get a job. I have seen pilots who waited more than 15 years to get a job. Why? Because they were not able to cross this exam called as airline entrance examination. And now you have seen, out of 2000, on an average only 150 pass through, 1850 stay back. On an average, I'm speaking. Like, if the competition is more, the applications which stay back are also more. Like, the airline will not say, oh, so many applications are there, I will hire so many pilots. It hires only those number of pilots that are required for their aircrafts, right? And it is not easy to buy an aircraft. Tomorrow, if you order, day after tomorrow, you're not getting an aircraft. You're getting after many years. You understand? So the number of jobs are not growing very fast as the number of student pilots. Now let's talk about your DGCA exams. I will take two examples. Let's say one student scored 96 out of 100 in meteorology. Let's say meteorology. We'll take a simple example. 96 out of 100 in meteorology. There is another student who scored 70 marks and passed meteorology. Now they both go to the same flying school. They both fly the aircrafts and they come back with their licenses after 1 year. Now the question is, when they both sit in the airline interview, how to judge who will get selected? Let's say for that exam there were 400 students who gave MET exam, right? When they gave the DGCA exam, let's say 400 students gave the MET exam and one student got 96. There is one student who got 98 also in that exam, right? Now among 400 students, this 96 marks का student का rank था second. Now among 2000 students, it will be what? When it is second in 400, it must be 8th or 10th in 2000 candidates, because the same candidates with whom your competition was in DGCA exams are also appearing for the airlines, but in a bigger number. Yes or no? Yes or no? So this guy who scored 96 has a very high chance that he will cross that barrier of airline entrance examination and go forward for the other rounds and get selected. Let's say who scored 70 marks. Let's say 200 students passed meteorology, 200 failed. Now his rank would be in somewhere 200s only, right? When 2000 people appear, right? When in 400 his rank was 200, in 2000 his rank will be 5 times, right? So it will be 1000. There were only 150 vacancies, and it is a very good chance that this guy will not get selected. You may say, sir, this guy might study well after this. No, the point is you have to study well in your ground school and you have to go and apply the same knowledge in the aircraft. From the top, you have to see what is an inversion. If you have never read what is an inversion, you cannot. You have to be able to judge. Okay, this is the low pressure. Am I traveling from low pressure to high pressure today? These are the things which you see only when you know these things exist in your ground school. If not, you are not going to experience all this. You are just going to learn how to fly the aircraft and come and land, right? This is how I think it is. From day one you start the ground classes. You have to keep in mind you have entered a competitive field where whether you will get a job or not is entirely dependent on yourself. Like, one good measure or one good way to make sure that you are in a category where you will get the job is compare your marks. Like, you get the DGCA list, like see how many students are appearing, what is your rank in that, and let's say if 2000 people appear, what would be your rank. This small comparison will help you whether you will get into an airline or you will not get into an airline. These are just the chances. And if you see this message, who sent this 80 marks, I always tell in my classes that you're 90, 98, 96, 80. I never spoke about it, as I will make them feel as if getting 80 marks is fail. Why? Because if a student thinks 80 marks are good enough, and when they go to airlines and they score the same 80 marks, they will not get a job, right? The whole point of spending 1 crore rupees to get ATPL, type rating, everything is to get a job. Yes or no? That mindset, I want my students to have it from day one itself. And in my classes, there is no doubt which is a stupid doubt. You can bring me any question from any book in this world and I will show you how to answer the question. So this is why I inculcate that mindset. Now, from here, it is very important to understand there are students who are very slow. Yes, very, very slow. they would have, like, students come to me who just passed with 34 marks, 35 marks in their 12th, and they say, sir, I want to become a pilot. I make them understand this thing. I make them study double, their capacity from day one. You just need to give me like 4 months or 5 months. I will make sure you have all the knowledge and you will be able to compete in that exams. And in an effort to make sure even the slowest of my students will get there, we are announcing something called as tuitions. So for example, today morning you had an navigation class, right? So now evening there will be tuitions. In this sense, there will be a tutor who will make sure you understood everything in class. And in tuitions, there will be everyday exam, like an oral exam. Okay, you have understood this, right? So solve this problem and show me. We will make up a question. So we are very proud to announce Pilot and tuitions. And these tuitions are not meant for everybody. We cannot take beyond a certain small number of people. If you think you are very slow, with the subjects, see, with the subjects only, let me give you my point of view when I say very slow. Every student is a special student. A guy who studies very well may not fly the aircraft very well. A guy who is very slow at studies may have superb hand skills to fly an aircraft. So do not compare a fish to climb a tree. But if we have to make a fish to climb a tree, because there are an exams that needs to be clear to get into an airlines, we will make sure we will do our best to help them climb the tree. Okay, this is all about the Pilot and tuitions, which are going to start very soon. Hopefully, we are very proud to announce it. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.